Heads up before you grab a snack this evening, Frito-Lay is recalling certain bags of Tostitos tortilla chips.
Tear open a bag, and instead of a simple salty crunch, you get a blast of neon dust that coats your fingers and burns your throat. That's the gamble every time you reach for chips. Some are crisp and clean, others are loaded with dyes, sodium, and artificial oils that hit your heart harder than your cravings. The same shelves hide both the best and the worst. Let's count down 9 chips you should avoid at all costs, and 2 that are actually safe to eat. Starting at number 9, the rolled chip that California pediatricians actually warned parents about. Takis Fuego rolls. In 2022, pediatricians issued public warnings after a spike in teen gastritis cases traced directly to Takis. Kids were showing up with stomach pain so severe, doctors ran scans thinking it was appendicitis. It wasn't appendicitis. It was chemical burn from neon corn rolls marketed as fiery fun. One San Diego mother posted, "My 12-year-old ate a bag before bed. By 3 a.m., we were in the ER. The doctor didn't even need test results. She asked one question, has he been eating those hot chips? She already knew. But here's what the bag won't tell you. Just 12 of these tiny sticks load your body with over 420 milligrams of sodium. That's nearly a third of what the American Heart Association says you should have in an entire day if you're watching your heart. Now add in the glowing red and orange dyes, red 40 Lake and yellow 6 Lake. Ingredients linked to hyperactivity in kids and bowel irritation in adults. Europe restricts these dyes in children's snacks. Some countries require warning labels. Here, we market them to teens with TikTok influencers. This isn't heat, it's a hospital visit waiting to happen. Open the bag and you're hit with a sharp, chemical tang that stings the nose before you even bite. The dust coats your fingers in a way soap barely washes off. Bite down, and the burn isn't natural chili warmth. It's a searing artificial fire that scorches the tongue, numbs the lips, and leaves your stomach twisting hours later. One high school nurse in Texas posted anonymously, "We keep a list on the office wall. Hot Cheetos, Takis, Flamin' Hot Doritos. If a kid comes in with stomach pain, we ask which one first. 9 times out of 10, they had a bag at lunch. You won't believe what else is hiding in the bag." Beyond sodium and dyes, Takis use refined oils and low-nutrient cornmeal that do nothing to fill you up. That's why you can eat half the bag and still feel hungry, only with a raw throat and bloated stomach to show for it. Would you let your teenager eat something California pediatricians issued warnings about? Would you serve a snack documented to cause stomach ulcers in kids? So what's a safer swap if you crave that spicy crunch? Try baked veggie chips dusted with chili powder, or even roasted chickpeas tossed with cayenne. You get the heat, the crunch, and none of the ER visits. And if you thought fire dust was bad, the next one doesn't just stick to red. It throws the entire rainbow at you. Sliding into number 8, we've got Doritos Flamin' Hot Cool Ranch. Cool Ranch? Try Chemical Ranch with a bonfire twist. The bag screams bold flavor with flames licking the edges, but what you're actually buying is a chemistry experiment disguised as chips. Each 12-chip handful, 190 milligrams sodium. Sounds small until you realize most kids don't stop at 12 chips. They eat half the bag. That's 3 servings, 570 milligrams of sodium. Add an after-school soda, 55 milligrams, and pizza for dinner, 700 milligrams, and a single snack session just delivered 1,325 milligrams of sodium. That's 58% of a child's daily limit, all from neon dust. And parents wonder why their kid can't sit still through homework. Cool? Not when your kid's bouncing off the walls. Tear open the bag, and the first thing you notice isn't ranch. It's the acrid, artificial smoke smell that hits your nose like a cheap firecracker. The chips glow an unnatural neon red. Dust so aggressive, it stains countertops and sticks to your tongue like chalk. One crunch and your fingers look like you've been finger painting in toxic powder. Consumer forums have reported rashes around the mouth after heavy snacking sessions. And pediatricians in Texas flagged Doritos Flamin' Hot flavors as repeat offenders in stomach-related ER visits among teens. Parents thought they were handing over a fun treat. Instead, they were dealing with heartburn, nausea, and kids waking up in pain. And yes, corporate knows. Back in 2021, Frito-Lay issued a voluntary recall on a batch of Doritos due to undeclared allergens, a reminder that bold flavor sometimes comes with hidden risks. It wasn't this exact flavor, but it shows how easily things slip past quality control. You won't believe what's lurking inside. Even if you ignore the dyes, the chips offer no real nutrition. 1 gram of fiber, 2 grams of protein, and the rest is empty carbs. That means you're left hungrier than before, only thirstier from the sodium burn. Want the crunch without the chemical storm? Grab organic tortilla chips with a side of salsa, real tomatoes, real spice, and 0 rainbow powders. It's heat you can taste without worrying what's coursing through your bloodstream later. That rainbow of chemicals looks bad enough, but the next can hide an even saltier secret. And this one doesn't stop at staining your tongue. It goes straight for your blood pressure. Taking the 7th spot, we're staring down a Pringles can that promises fiesta, but delivers a cancer scare. You pop the iconic lid and get a quick hit of spice, but let's be honest, what you're really opening is a chemistry lab in a tube. One serving, just 14 chips, slams you with 280 milligrams of sodium. That's before you go back for a second handful, which everybody does because these things are engineered to keep you reaching. But sodium is just the start. The real danger is hiding in how these chips are made. This isn't enchilada, it's acrylamide in disguise. Tip the can, and you'll notice the inside walls carry a greasy film that shines in the light. Pull out a crisp, and your fingers come back dusted in a powder that clings like chalk. Bite down, and instead of smoky roasted flavor, you get a tangy chemical burn that lingers long after the crunch is gone. Even the aftertaste feels fake, like the ghost of seasoning left behind in the back of your throat. But here's what the label won't tell you. Pringles are formed under extreme heat and pressure, creating acrylamide, a chemical compound the National Toxicology Program classifies as reasonably anticipated to be a human carcinogen. Consumer watchdog groups have flagged flavored Pringles for years due to their high acrylamide content. The same process that makes them stackable and uniform also makes them a potential cancer risk. You won't believe what's lurking inside. The company markets these as enchilada adobada, playing off authentic Mexican cuisine. Real adobada is slow marinated pork with chili, garlic, and vinegar, rich and earthy. Pringles' version? Potato starch pressed into identical shapes, then drowned in artificial spice powder. The only thing Mexican about this can is the word on the label. You're not tasting culture, you're tasting a cancer-forming chemical disguised as a snack. One food scientist posted on a safety forum, Pringles are formed under such high heat that acrylamide formation is inevitable. The industry knows. They just bank on consumers not reading studies. Would you eat something with a cancer warning just because it's stackable? There is a fix. Skip the can, grab a pack of corn tortillas, slice them into wedges, brush with olive oil and lime, and bake until crisp. Real crunch, real flavor, and zero acrylamide formation. If a fake enchilada with cancer chemicals makes you cringe, wait till you see what Cheetos did with chili. The next one takes neon powder to a new level, and your stomach might not forgive it. Sliding into number 6, we've got Cheetos Flamin' Hot Tangy Chili Fusion. Chili Fusion? Please. This is more like confusion in a bag. You tear one open and get hit with a cloud of red dust that clings to the air. Shake the bag and you'll literally see the powder drift out like smoke from a flare gun. The chips inside are coated in a neon red armor that stains your fingertips, counters, and anything else it touches. That tangy smell? Sharp, sour, almost metallic, closer to chemical perfume than real chili. Per serving, just 21 pieces, you're swallowing 200 milligrams of sodium, a dose that piles up fast. And the kicker? These aren't just salty. They're colored with yellow 5-lake and red 40-lake, two dyes linked to hyperactivity, allergic reactions, and even bowel inflammation in certain studies. Yellow 5-lake and red 40-lake are restricted in Norway and Austria for children's products. But Frito-Lay aims these directly at kids with influencer marketing and school vending machines. That tang? It's just chemical perfume. Cheetos pushes this as fusion flavor, something adventurous and bold. But the truth is, the fusion is a marriage between cheap artificial coloring and MSG. One whistleblower on a food safety forum joked that quality checks were basically, does the dust look neon enough? Not exactly the standard you'd want from a global brand. And here's a real-world fallout. Consumer complaint lines logged multiple cases of people reporting stomach cramps after binging on these fusion bags. One Texas parent even shared that their child's tongue swelled slightly after a handful, forcing an ER trip. The company chalked it up to spice sensitivity, but when the ingredient list reads like a chemistry set, should anyone really be surprised? There is a safer fix. If you want spice that doesn't double as a science experiment, go with air-popped popcorn, dusted with chili powder and lime. Real ingredients, real crunch. Zero clouds of neon dust settling over your kitchen. Cheetos left your tongue burning and your stomach churning. But the next entry? Lay's Flamin' Hot doesn't just torch your mouth, it leaves you hungrier than before. Quick pause before we hit the next snack disaster. If you're finding this eye-opening, hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss the rest of this countdown. Trust me, the worst ones are still coming. Sliding down to number 5, we land on Lay's Flamin' Hot. Classic potato chips dipped in neon dust and engineered to leave you hungrier than before you started. The bag opens, and you're greeted by a wall of oil scent mixed with sharp chili powder. Reach inside and your fingers come out glowing orange-red, like you've just been finger painting with chemicals. Place one chip on a napkin, and it leaves behind a streak that looks closer to highlighter ink than food residue. Per ounce, just one small bag, you're swallowing 190 milligrams of sodium and 10 grams of fat. But here's the betrayal. For all that salt and grease, you get almost nothing back. Just 2 grams of protein and 1 gram of fiber. Translation? These chips are engineered to trick your brain into thinking you're eating food while delivering zero nutrition. This isn't a snack, it's a hunger trap, and that's by design. Food scientists call it vanishing caloric density. The chip dissolves so fast on your tongue that your brain doesn't register you've eaten anything substantial. So you keep reaching back into the bag. One handful turns into 5. And suddenly you've consumed 950 milligrams of sodium and 50 grams of fat, but your stomach still feels empty. Here's the real shocker. Multiple customer complaints posted online link this version of Lay's to sudden bloating and intense hunger rebounds. One user joked, "I ate the whole bag and felt like I had swallowed fire and grease in equal parts, but I was still starving an hour later." Another wrote, "These chips are a black hole. You keep eating, nothing registers, and then you crash." One nutritionist posted a brutal review. Lay's Flamin' Hot are the perfect storm of terrible nutrition. High sodium, high fat, low protein, low fiber, and coated in enough spice to mask the fact you're eating air. It's engineered hunger. But here's the kicker. These chips are pitched as an upgrade, a bold twist on a classic. In truth, they're the same thin fried potato slices, just coated in enough spice and dye to hide the fact they offer nothing. The betrayal lies in the promise. Lay's suggests you're choosing something fun and edgy. What you're actually getting is a high-salt, zero-nutrition filler that leaves you reaching for another snack within minutes. Now think about it. If you're trying to manage weight, blood pressure, or diabetes, how many snacks like this sabotage your entire day? Just 2 servings could land you at nearly half the FDA's 2,300 milligram sodium cap with zero nutritional payoff. You're not feeding your body, you're tricking it. Would you pay $3.99 for a bag designed to make you hungrier? So what's the safer fix? Skip the engineered hunger. Try baked Lay's lightly salted, or better yet, air-popped popcorn with a light dust of chili powder. Less fat, less sodium, and actual fiber that makes you feel full instead of hollow. Lay's burns your mouth and leaves your stomach begging for real food. But just when you think it can't get faker, Ruffles takes cheddar to a whole new level of laboratory fiction. Rolling in at number 4, we've got Ruffles Flamin' Hot Cheddar and Sour Cream. Because what your arteries really needed was fake cheese on top of fake cream. The bag sells it as a double win. Cheddar richness plus chili heat. What you actually get? A laboratory experiment in flavor deception. Each serving brings 190 milligrams of sodium and 10 grams of fat. But here's the kicker. There's no real cheddar and no real sour cream. Open the bag and breathe deep. Instead of authentic cheddar, you're met with a sharp tang that smells closer to powdered cheese from a $1 ramen packet. Pull out a chip and the ridges look like orange speed bumps. Thick grooves caked with greasy dust that clings to your fingers and leaves prints on anything you touch. Wipe them on a napkin and you'll see smears that look more like sidewalk chalk than food. Cheddar never looked so fake. And here's the betrayal. Flip the bag over and read the ingredient list. You won't find cheddar cheese. You'll find whey powder, natural and artificial cheese flavor, and a cocktail of chemical enhancers designed to trick your taste buds. The cheddar is a laboratory blend of milk solids and flavor compounds. The sour cream, citric acid, and more artificial flavoring. You're not eating dairy, you're eating the memory of dairy, synthesized in a factory. One food scientist broke it down bluntly. These chips contain cheese flavoring, not cheese. It's designed to hit the same taste receptors as real cheddar without the cost of actual dairy. Your brain gets fooled, your body gets nothing. Online reviews are filled with complaints of stomach cramps and greasy aftertaste. One customer wrote, "The flavor builds and then just lingers like bad cologne. I felt sick halfway through the bag." Another joked, "These chips taste like nacho cheese that lost a bet with a chemistry set." But here's what really stings. People expect these thicker ridges to feel more filling and deliver more flavor. They don't. The ridges are just marketing. More surface area for more fake cheese dust. More dust equals more deception. You're paying extra for grooves filled with laboratory powder. The sodium and fat numbers are nearly identical to regular Lay's chips, meaning the cheddar and sour cream experience costs you nothing extra in nutrition and everything extra in chemical load. You're not upgrading. You're being scammed with ridges. Would you pay $4.50 for cheese that never saw a cow? And here's the real-world cost. If you're lactose intolerant, you might think these are safe because they're cheese-flavored. But many customers report digestive issues anyway. Not from lactose, but from the cocktail of whey isolates, MSG, and chemical flavorings that your gut doesn't recognize as food. So what's the fix? Skip the powder parade and grab kettle-cooked sea salt chips. Clean label, fewer additives, and a crunch that comes from the potato itself, not from fluorescent dust clinging for dear life. Or if you want real cheese flavor, slice a potato thin, bake it, and dust it with actual Parmesan. You'll taste the difference immediately. Ruffles promised richness. What they delivered was chemical cosplay in a bag. And just when you thought chips couldn't get faker, Funyuns decided onions needed a complete identity crisis too. Sliding into number 3, we've got Funyuns Flamin' Hot Onion Rings, the snack ring that contains almost no onion and delivers a chemical divorce from your gut. Open the bag and it's a trap. At first, you catch a whiff of fried onion. Familiar, comforting. But that smell? It's not onion. It's onion powder mixed with MSG and natural onion flavoring, which is code for, "We made this taste like onion in a lab." Take out a ring. Your fingers instantly turn greasy red, coated in powder that clings like glue. Bite down, and the crunch is hollow, more puffed corn than onion. The flavor lingers, acrid and sharp, leaving your tongue coated with residue that feels like fine sandpaper. Here's the betrayal that'll make you spit it out. These onion rings contain approximately 0.01% actual onion powder. The rest, cornmeal, MSG, artificial flavoring, and a chemical cocktail designed to mimic the taste of onions without using real onions. This ring doesn't marry you. It catfishes your taste buds. One food industry whistleblower posted, "Funyuns are basically puffed cornmeal with onion essence. We joke that if you wanted real onion, you'd have better luck licking an onion-scented candle." And yet, the bag screams nostalgia. Funyuns has been around since 1969, and many folks still think of them as harmless childhood snacks. But the modern Flamin' Hot twist doubles down on the deception. What little onion flavoring exists gets buried under a chemical avalanche of MSG and spice compounds. You're not tasting onions. You're tasting the ghost of an onion's memory, trapped in extruded corn. Here's the math. 290 milligrams of sodium in just 13 rings. That's more than a quarter of your daily recommended limit in a handful of fake onion loops. But the sodium is almost a distraction from the bigger lie. These aren't onion rings at all. One online complaint compared the aftertaste to licking a wet battery that someone rubbed with an onion. Another wrote, "I gave my kid a handful and he was bouncing off the walls for hours. I checked the bag. There's more MSG than onion." The ingredient list reads like a chemistry experiment. Enriched cornmeal, vegetable oil, salt, corn flour, buttermilk, maltodextrin, monosodium glutamate, hydrolyzed corn protein, dextrose, garlic powder, natural flavors, and then, buried near the end, onion powder. By the time you get to actual onion, it's practically homeopathic. Would you eat onion rings that contain less onion than a sneeze in an onion field? Funyuns markets itself as onion rings, but there's almost no onion in sight. You're crunching puffed cornmeal, sprinkled with MSG, and tricked into thinking it's the real thing. It's not comfort food, it's a flavor magic trick, and your body is the one paying the price. So what's the fix? Swap these for baked onion crisps made with real onions. Brands like Trader Joe's sell crispy onion pieces with actual onion as the first ingredient. Fewer chemicals, no fake flavoring, and an actual onion taste that doesn't cling to your tongue like cheap cologne. Funyuns left your stomach coated in chemicals and your taste buds catfished. And if fake onions weren't enough, Chester's fries might actually make your lips swell. Sliding into number 2, Chester's Flamin' Hot Fries. Fries are fireworks. Depends on how your stomach reacts. Crack open the bag, and you're hit with a smell that's less cheesy fries, more chemical spice bomb. The sticks look like someone dunked matchsticks in neon paint. They're drenched in powder so thick it leaves your fingers red before you even take a bite. Bring one close, and the bag itself reeks. Sharp, acrid, like chili dust mixed with lighter fluid. Each serving packs 280 milligrams of sodium, plus a wallop of MSG, red 40, and yellow 6 dyes. It's marketed as cheese fries, but there's nothing cheesy about synthetic coloring and chemical afterburn. Bite into one, and the texture isn't crunch, it's collapse. The fry doesn't snap clean, it crumbles, leaving a gummy interior coated in hot dust. One whistleblower on a snack forum called it styrofoam dipped in pepper spray. Another wrote, "My kid's lips swelled up after a handful, and the school nurse told us it was a reaction to the dyes." This fry doesn't crunch, it combusts. And Chester's plays on nostalgia too. The bright red bag, the cartoon cheetah, the promise of bold heat. It hooks kids who grew up with flamin' hot everything. But behind that marketing, What you're eating is a cocktail of preservatives and food coloring dressed up as fries. Real fries are potatoes fried in oil. Chesters are cornmeal sticks extruded in a factory and drowned in chemicals until they glow. Ever wondered why your lips stay red long after you stop eating? That's not flavor, it's dye residue that clings like paint. And the consequences? Parents have filed complaints after their children suffered stomach pain and nausea. In 2018, a recall flagged mislabeled bags that didn't list milk as an allergen, sending several kids to urgent care. Stories like these show it's not just empty calories, it's a snack that can land you in a waiting room. So what's the fix? Don't torch your stomach for fake fries. Swap them for oven-baked sweet potato fries. Real vegetable, baked crisp, seasoned with chili powder if you want heat. You'll get actual crunch and flavor without your tongue glowing red. Chesters left your lips burning and your stomach turning. And topping the list, a pork rind so salty it could scare your doctor. At the very top of the worst chips list, Max salt and vinegar pork rinds, marketed as keto-friendly, but your blood pressure calls it betrayal. Tear open the bag, and the first hit isn't savory comfort. It's a sharp vinegar sting that shoots straight up your nose. The rinds themselves look like brittle shards of styrofoam, shiny with grease. Bite down, and they don't crunch like chips. They snap, splinter, and leave an oily film across your tongue. The tang isn't fresh vinegar, it's chemical acid that lingers, clawing at your throat. Now for the hard truth. Just half an ounce delivers 330 milligrams of sodium, 5 grams of fat, and 2 grams of saturated fat. Double the serving, which most people do without blinking, and you've blown past a quarter of your recommended daily salt in a snack that barely fills your hand. And the betrayal runs deeper. Max markets these as protein-packed and keto-friendly, banking on the low-carb craze. But let's be real. Keto is about balance and clean fats, not drowning your body in sodium bombs that push your blood pressure through the roof. This isn't keto, it's chaos. Ever notice how your mouth feels scorched after 3 bites? That's vinegar powder mixed with chemical salt. Worse, there have been real consequences. In 2020, consumer watchdog groups flagged mislabeled pork rinds with undeclared allergens, sparking recalls across multiple states. Forums are filled with people complaining of pounding headaches, nausea, and heart palpitations after finishing a bag. One customer even posted a photo of rinds fused together with a yellowish grease patch, saying it smelled like fryer sludge. That's not protein fuel, that's a snack sabotaging your health. And visually, it's grim. Leave an open bag overnight, and the rinds wilt into rubbery, greasy curls. No crispness, just clumps of salt stuck together, like someone spilled vinegar on insulation foam. So what's the fix? Skip the pork fat chemistry project. Go for roasted chickpeas or baked edamame. Both are crunchy, naturally high in protein, and seasoned with real spices instead of artificial acid dust. You'll get flavor, satiety, and none of the blood pressure spike. After all that sodium sludge, it's easy to think chips and snacks are doomed. But 2 brands prove it doesn't have to be this way. Real crunch, real ingredients, and actual flavor without the betrayal. Finally, we get a breath of fresh air. Our first bonus pick is Bare Baked Apple Chips, a chip that crunches without coating your hands in neon dust. Finally, a bag that doesn't require hazmat cleanup. Bare Baked Apple Chips prove not every snack is warfare. Rip it open and smell apples. Actual apples. Not apple flavor or natural apple essence with red 40. Just apples, sliced and baked. The slices are golden, thin, and crisp. Bite into one and there's a sharp snap, followed by natural sweetness that comes only from fruit, not syrups or fake flavor powders. And the ingredient list? One word. Apples, no sodium bombs, no red 40, yellow 6, or natural flavor mystery additives. Every serving carries the fiber, nutrients, and antioxidants you'd expect from the fruit itself. It's proof that companies can make snacks without chemical labs. They just choose not to, because dyes are cheaper than honesty. One parent posted, "I gave these to my ADHD son. He ate the whole bag. No sugar rush, no meltdown, just normal snack time." I cried. That's what happens when you stop feeding kids science experiments. Real crunch, real fruit, no ER visits. Now, contrast that with the sodium monsters we've been talking about. Remember Max pork rinds, drowning in 330 milligrams of salt per half ounce? These apple chips carry 0 added sodium. Instead of frying, they're baked slowly, which locks in the sweetness and keeps the texture light. You don't finish the bag feeling greasy. You finish it feeling like you just ate something clean. Second safe pick, Pop Chips Sea Salt. Proof that potatoes don't need to drown in oil to crunch. Open the bag and breathe. No chemical perfume, no neon dust cloud, no greasy film that requires soap and a nail brush. Just the light, toasted scent of actual potatoes. Pick one up, your fingers stay clean. No slick film, no orange powder staining your skin. just an airy crisp that breaks clean with the first bite. Each serving comes in at about 100 calories, with far less fat than the usual fried chips. The sodium is there, but it's moderate, not the jaw-clenching salt hit you'd get from a bag of vinegar-soaked rinds or MSG-loaded fries. It's proof that not every potato snack has to feel like a trap. Finally, a chip that won't sabotage your snack. And here's the real twist. Pop chips aren't fried at all. They're made with heat and pressure, which pops the potatoes into airy rounds. That means you get the crunch without the dunk in oil. One nutritionist wrote, "I recommend these to patients who think they have to give up chips entirely. You don't. You just have to stop eating science experiments disguised as snacks. That's the difference. Not as clean as raw veggies, but miles ahead of the grease bombs and dye clouds we've been counting down. Do they taste exactly like fried chips? Number. But they don't have to. They give you enough salt and crunch to hit the craving, without the heavy fat load that leaves you reaching for napkins and water. It's a balance snackers can actually live with. Would you trade fryer grease for clean crunch? Pair them with hummus or guacamole, and you've got a snack that feels indulgent while staying in control. Compare that to the sodium grenades and chemical warfare we've gone through earlier, and it feels almost revolutionary. So yes, Pop Chips Sea Salt earns the final safe spot here. They prove chips don't have to be chemical traps or grease-drenched regrets. They can be light, satisfying, and proof the snack aisle doesn't have to be a war zone. 9 bags of chemical warfare disguised as snacks. 2 bags that prove food doesn't have to send kids to the ER. The difference isn't subtle, it's the difference between feeding your kids actual food or feeding them lab experiments with cartoon mascots. So here's the bottom line. That bag crackling open in your pantry right now is either fuel or poison. The chips don't care which, but now you know which ones are which. What's the worst chip disaster you've had? ER visit, allergic reaction, or kid bouncing off walls for hours? Drop it below. Want to see which other snacks are betraying your family? Click on the left and hit subscribe now so you never buy poison disguised as a party snack again.